What is going on today, guys? TOMCAT here, and today we are back on the Dirt Time map in Spin Tires yet again. Now, the map itself has been updated to, again, another version. You guys have seen the progression through version 1 and then version 2, which is what you guys saw last time. Version 2 was when the mud pit was added in and a couple of other changes were made, and then now version 3 has a couple more things that have been added. Actually, there was a couple of things that were added based on viewer suggestion, and there were a couple of things that were added based on my suggestions since I've been working with the creator pretty closely. And I know a lot of you guys have been asking where to get this map. You guys have been asking what this map is, like trying to find it and download it. Basically, this map is in development. It's in pre-release right now. And the whole reasoning behind me doing a series on it was to be able to show you guys the progression behind this map and why I think it's one of the most in-depth maps that's pretty much ever been created in Spin Tires. So I'll go ahead and show you guys a map view because there's a little bit that's been changed. If you can see right here, the Tough Truck Playground, which is basically where a lot of this stuff, a lot of the changes have been made. Here's the mud bog, and that kind of remains unchanged. Here's the other course that's matching, and this is new. This is pretty much a hill climb race, and then it has basically you can see there's arrows of where to turn around at the end. And it's pretty much set up to where it's almost identical. It's almost identical. Both lanes have been designed to keep it as kind of as fair as possible, but there's definitely a good bit of challenge to it. I haven't actually tried it yet. So, and then you have a little side route that you can use kind of to come back. So, but that we will be trying out, and there's also been a garage added over here for the weight sleds, so you can use those for actual sled pulling, and that's going to be something that I'm going to cover in a separate video because a lot of you guys have been asking to see sled pulls, and they were kind of just there before. They just sat there, and they were there, but they didn't really do much. But now they actually do something. So before we get into this, because this is something that I definitely am going to be using in multiplayer. This is what it's designed for. This was literally designed for races between me and Jeep Guy. So you guys are going to be seeing those very, very soon. And then over here, you'll see a garage has been added, or at least like a garage point has been added where the weight sleds are. And I just realized we don't really have a vehicle to unlock that with, but we'll do that in another video when we focus actually on the sled pulls themselves. But this particular video is focused on that new hill climb section. So we're gonna go over there and we're gonna give that a try, and then we're going to see about checking out some of the other new features of the map. And I brought Spun's no door Wagoneer, and then I also brought that Dodge, CCS's Dodge. And I really wanted to run this kind of by myself before I ran it in multiplayer because I don't know how difficult he made it. Sometimes some of his stuff it ends up being really difficult, and it doesn't look difficult, but he puts a lot of work into it to make it difficult. So far this thing handles it really well. I'm going to look at the map too in just a second because he did change up a couple of other things with if I can find them, the hill climbs over along this edge. If I can find where they are. Here, he added a bunch of extra rocks and a bunch of extra kind of terrain changes. So this area doesn't really look like it's been changed much, but trust me, it has. There's a lot more over there than there was before, but I'll show you guys that later on. This spot I can really see being one of the best kind of like all-round vehicle tests that you could do. I mean, it's got rock crawling, it's got dirt, it's got hills, it's got mud. Well, actually, when I mentioned mud, like there was some right there. So you kind of get into actually a little bit of a cool rhythm with this section of the map. And I like how he separated it too. I don't know how long this took to do, these little, using the trees to separate both lanes, but apparently you need to control your pace coming over that hill, otherwise you'll flip forward. Never actually even had that happen with a vehicle before. That makes me glad I brought this other truck. I didn't really think I was gonna have to use it, but turns out we do have to. Just going to take that same lane. The only thing I'm concerned about is that this truck isn't anywhere near as lifted as... Not only is it nowhere near as lifted as the Jeep, but it's really nowhere near as lifted as a lot of the other trucks that we could have used. We could have used that, you know, that lifted mega cab or something like that, and that would have been fine. That would have been plenty, but I just figured this would be a decent truck for if we needed, like, a rescue wagon of sorts, but I didn't really consider having to go through a rock crawling course to actually perform the rescue. So maybe next time we'll bring something a little bit more off-road capable. And, oh god, yeah, it's getting high-centered everywhere. Thankfully, it's a little bit faster than the Jeep is, so it shouldn't take us that long to get to it. We just got to make sure that when we actually get there, we don't flip over forwards just exactly the same as we did before. The truck has this particular one has one good thing going for it at least, and that's the fact that it has a lot of grip, but the grip isn't going to really... It isn't going to do much if you can't... it isn't going to do much if you're getting high-centered on everything, which the Jeep... Oh god, the frame rate. It's freaking out. The Jeep is falling. I don't know if we can get it to kind of fall the way we want it to fall. Let's see if that works. Let's pull it over real quick. There we go. Okay, so it works. And I'm going to move the Dodge out of the way and then go ahead and drive the Jeep through the rest of the course. Because admittedly, the Jeep is the better option of the two to finish this course. Make no mistake. I'm surprised it's holding in an automatic in second going up the hill. And that's one of those really... The Dodge would get stuck there. There's no question about the fact that the Dodge would get stuck there. And then this is where it kind of splits off into the turnaround. Did I just put a wheel through the... Okay, thank God I didn't, because that would be... Dude, if you put a wheel over that edge, you'll get stuck. Like, instant stuck. And I don't even... Oh, I see how this works. You go around the edge, and then you loop back and kind of come down the center section. I'm going to leave it in automatic mode because the Dodge was kind of getting all over the place in automatic mode, whereas this just pretty much just shifts as it's supposed to. And I was concerned that this whole, like, looping back around idea wasn't really going to work properly, but it seems like it's actually a good idea. It's like, as long as you... Well, you have to start your engine back up again because it puts you into this, like, crazy downhill. But other than that... Oh, come on. I think if you wanted to get the best possible time going through here, you would have to do it by switching between automatic and low and high, and it would be... I don't know, not necessarily it would be a hard process, but it'd definitely be something you'd have to figure out what worked best for, depending on the vehicle. Come on, God, this thing digs. Even in automatic mode, it digs. And that's probably partially due to the fact that we put boggers on it before we brought it here, but also partially due to the fact that it's one of Spun's vehicles, and his vehicles always work so well. They really do. I just need to get... Now, this is going to be difficult. This... I remember coming back the other way, and when I was coming back the other way, I was like, this is going to be probably the hardest part going back, and, oh, if we can get the front... Wow. Never mind. If we can get the front axle up and over the top of the rock, it's literally not even an issue for this anyway. I just want to see if the Dodge can make it all the way back, because the Dodge is halfway out there already anyway, so we may as well complete a lap with it. And, I think it's going to have a little bit more of an issue getting up over things like that, to where, you know, high centering is definitely a possibility. But we'll go ahead and get it out to here and then stop, and we'll go back and grab the Dodge. The only thing I'm concerned about now, I think, is I want to go and switch out to a vehicle that has garage points so I can unlock, you know, the weight sleds and do some sled pulls. But the only problem with that is the fact that reloading this map is quite dangerous, and I'll tell you why. Because when you reload this map, you kind of take a complete gamble on whether or not the map will actually work again, and it could crash like 5 or 6 times before you ever get it to work again. So that's one of the I guess just one of the things that comes along with a pre-production map, and that's why, one of the reasons anyway, why it's not released yet. Gonna have to use the winch to get up over this. See, that's one of the things about having such a huge overhang with that bumper. And then also not having big enough tires to where you just high center on things like that. And you just pull just a little. There we go. It's like when the truck can get traction, it goes forward no problem. Like, it actually grips up no problem, but anytime there's a chance of high centering, this truck is probably going to do it. We'll put it in automatic mode for this, because it's in third gear now, and we can just stick it in high, and hopefully that will, never mind. God, it slides out to the side so easy. There we go, there we go, there we go! I'm just gonna try and keep it in high range, going all the way back to the, going all the way back to where it loops back around. Ooh! Come on! Oh, yep. If I can get it to fall, that would be nice, but... God, that is literally just perfectly up and down. If I turn the wheels, does it do anything? Not really, it just kind of shifts it back and forth. It literally just shifts it back and forth and stays there. It doesn't, like... There's not much we could do here. There's really not much we can do here. I think... Well, no, never mind. Yeah, it's starting to fall. I figured if we stayed there long enough, it would start to fall. And then now, stick in high range, and see how long we can use high range to just keep up enough momentum to either jump over everything or climb over everything that's in the way. And so far, that's working pretty well. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, the mud is probably going to be the end of driving this thing in high. Because once pretty much anything, especially, what's weird is especially some of CCS's trucks, when you leave them in high and then you get into the mud, that's when they really get stuck. But then again, it's not really just CCS's trucks that do that. Spun's trucks do that. Brute's trucks do that. Pretty much everybody's trucks do that, honestly. And I think that's just because of the fact that the new, well, not really the new coding, but the update that happened a while back is why that ends up happening most of the time. Come on. It was just at the right angle to where it didn't high center. Just at the right angle. Now if we have a little bit more... This last part's going to be weird. I'm going to have to go around probably the left side to get it to not high center on that rock, but... using the rock sliders a little bit. Well, not even rock sliders, just side steps that look like rock sliders. But that is the new Hillclimb course. Well, not really Hillclimb, it's just more like an off-road race course. And what we're going to do is in the next time we look at this map, we're going to be looking at those weight sleds. And then after that, we're going to be looking at some of the other new features that have been added to the Dirt Time map. So remember, this is version 3, and I'm not sure how many other versions there are going to be before this map is released. There'll probably be a version 4. I don't know if there'll be a version 5 or not, but there'll definitely be a version 4, I would say. And if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. Tell me in the comments below what you thought of it, and hit that like button if you enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys later.